So here's a new one for you guys. This is from Romans 13, 1 through 5. Everyone must submit himself to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Now, right here I want you to notice that it re-emphasizes the point that there is no authority in place except those put there by God. Okay? Consequently, he who rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. Do you want to be free from fear of one in authority? Then do what is right, and he will commend you. For he is God's servant to do you good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword for nothing. He is God's servant, an agent of wrath, to bring punishment on the wrongdoer. Therefore it is necessary to submit to the authorities, not only because of possible punishment, but also because of conscience. Now, make no mistake, what this verse is saying is that anytime you rebel against authority, you're defying God. Period. It makes it very clear. It repeats itself multiple times to get that point across. So here's the short video for today, theists, Christians. I want you to think about this. This does not specify any particular place, any particular time. It says very boldly and repeatedly, God is the one who puts people in an authoritative position. That means that George W. Bush was put there by God. If you disagree with that, you disagree with the Bible. If you think that he is put there by God, then to do anything to change what he is doing, to rebel against him, would have been rebelling against God. Trying to undo what God has done. Trying to disrupt something that has been established by God, per this verse. But it's not even just that easy. It also goes into other countries. To rebel against what Adolf Hitler did, that would have been rebelling against God. Hitler was an authority put there by God. I'm plain and simple. I'm going right out of what the Bible says here. Joseph Stalin, appointed by God. Let's see, Pol Pot, appointed by God. Mao, appointed by God. Kim Jong-il, appointed by God. Caligula, Nero, appointed by God. Look at the history of, I think what you would say would be false Christians in the church, appointed by God. Now I'm wondering how many people who watch this video are going to be willing to stop fighting against our government. And I'm not talking about major things. I'm talking about any little thing that you have an issue with as a Christian, and you gripe about whoever's in charge, usually the president. Well, you're griping about what God has done. You're griping about God's plan. You're unsatisfied with the person that God has put in charge. Now, I want you guys to think about that. Can you really swallow this kind of crap? Can you actually say that all these people who have done these horrible, disgusting atrocities, theist or non-theist, can you actually say that, yeah, I believe that they were put there by God? And can you further stop yourself from doing anything to stop them? Think about Osama bin Laden. He was put there by God, according to this verse. How does that make you feel? Would you stop bin Laden if you had the chance? If you had seen him rolling down the street one day while he was trying to escape, would you shoot him, or would you let him go free? If you let him go free, you're letting the authority of God go free. If you shoot him, you're trying to inhibit that which God has planned. And this goes one further, which I wasn't going to do originally, but the end times. It's really funny to me that my whole life as a Christian, you keep seeing things that Christians do trying to stop what they think is an inevitable, returning of Jesus Christ and the rapture and the seven seals and whatnot. This is ordained by God to happen. To fight against it is to try to stop God's plan from unfolding. Think about that, guys. Can you rationalize that in your mind? Can you actually live with the doublespeak of trying to stop what's happening, but knowing that the Bible says that you cannot and should not, at the risk of hurting your own self, according to Romans? Or is it more likely that these verses were written by a bunch of Bronze Age minded men at the time, for whatever reason? Typically it's seen as political purpose, but I'm not going to go into that. Who can explain this to me? Who can explain why Adolf Hitler was appointed by God, and that everything that he did was God's plan? Alright, have a good one, guys.